This man never dreamed of it. As a commoner, he was tortured to death by nobles using magic. Unexpectedly, he was reincarnated as the most noble seventh prince of this country, due to having memories from his past life. As soon as he was born, he used a fireball spell to blast a hole in the ceiling. This immediately stunned all the maids present. As the male lead gradually grew up, his deeds also gradually spread throughout the capital. Because he was obsessed with magic from a young age, many people secretly saw him as the reincarnation of the god of magic. After finally getting the maids to serve him, the male lead quietly sneaked into the royal magic library. The library housed various magic books. His obsession with magic made him feel like a mouse in a rice jar. Women only slowed down his reading speed. However, just as the male lead was about to read, his swordsmanship teacher, Bai Mao, suddenly appeared to take him for sword practice. As a grandmaster of swordsmanship, Bai Mao believed only those with exceptional sword skills could truly be considered nobles. So whenever she had free time, she would take the male lead to practice swordsmanship. Bai Mao's strength goes without saying. But the male lead, who has only been practicing swordsmanship for 2.5 years, can hold his own against her. This is not because of his exceptional talent, but because he used some tricks behind the scenes. He used mirror magic to replicate Bai Mao's movements. This means that Bai Mao is essentially fighting against herself, although it is said like this. But after all, there are still differences in their strength and physical abilities. Even if the male lead does his best, he still cannot defeat Bai Mao. There is no way he can win. In order to go back and read sooner, the male lead decides to increase the intensity. Growth in life, strengthening the body. With this boost, he ended up in a draw with Bai Mao. Following the principle of catching the opponent off guard, the male lead suddenly released the mirror magic to prepare a finishing move. Unexpectedly, the opponent was already prepared. Not only did Bai Mao see through his tactics, right? But she also knocked his sword out of his hand. As a grandmaster of swordsmanship, Bai Mao had long seen through the male lead's tricks. She was not only not angry about the male lead cheating, but was actually extremely happy, because she had never heard of a mage who could use 2 types of magic simultaneously. The male lead was truly a 1 in a million genius. However, what she didn't know was that the male lead was actually using 4 types of magic simultaneously. After sweating profusely from practicing swordsmanship, the two naturally wanted to take a relaxing bath. The maids were naturally present to serve them. The scene was so beautiful that it cannot pass the censors. Please imagine it yourself. During the bath, the male lead happened to hear about a forbidden magic book in the basement that sealed an ancient demon. Being obsessed with magic, he naturally kept this in mind. As night fell, after everyone had gone to sleep, the male lead prepared to go alone to the basement to investigate, using invisibility magic to successfully evade the guards. He arrived in front of a large door covered in sealing magic. Magic of this level naturally couldn't stump him. He broke the seal within minutes. Upon arriving at the hidden library, he was so happy that he felt like flying. Having lived here for so many years, he had no idea there was such a good place underground. Seeing someone intrude, the sealed demon hurriedly came out and asked the male lead to release the seal. It conjured a handful of golden beans to bribe the male lead. Unexpectedly, what he didn't expect was, the male lead simply rubbed the beans, and they all turned into powder. Then he gave the demon a sharp criticism. He criticized the demon for producing gold with low purity. Not only was it red, but the internal structure was too loose and easily crumbled. The purity was so low that it turned into powder with a slight touch. Upon hearing this, the demon felt embarrassed and speechless. After realizing the male lead's exceptional enthusiasm for magic, the demon promised to teach ancient magic in exchange for him releasing the seal. Initially, the male lead was about to leave, but upon hearing this offer, he immediately turned back and released the seal. Unfortunately, the demon had no intention of keeping its promise. After releasing the seal, it turned around and cast a dark flash cannon at the male lead. Feeling smug, the demon thought the male lead would die after being hit by the dark flash cannon. To his surprise, after the smoke cleared, the male lead appeared unharmed as if nothing had happened. Upon hearing the demon mock his lack of strength, the demon became agitated. It unleashed a barrage of attacks on the male lead. Initially, the male lead, protected by a barrier, wouldn't be harmed. But unable to resist his curiosity to study the demon's magic, he recklessly extended his finger beyond the barrier. In an instant, the magic roaring outside the barrier surrounded his finger, and his finger suddenly became covered in wounds. Then 9100:03:31 666:00:03:33 399 seeing the dark flash cannon swirling around his fingertip. The male lead was like a child with a new toy. The demon, witnessing the scene, was dumbfounded. Frustrated, it manifested two heads. This move was the demon's unique dual chanting skill. After reciting a series of obscure and difficult incantations, countless black lights whistled towards the male lead. Spiral dark flash. However, the male lead's barrier was too invincible. The demon's attack couldn't break through the defense at all. Seeing that he was no match, the demon intended to make a quick escape. But to his surprise, the next moment he bumped his head against the barrier. It turned out that the male lead, in order to prevent his magic from harming others, would layer upon layer of defensive barriers around him. This unexpected turn of events caught the demon off guard. Seeing the demon out of options, the male lead prepared to retaliate. "Let me show you my defensive magic." Blazing fireball. What kind of magical power is this? Although, due to the setting of this world, demons cannot be killed by magic. After witnessing the male lead's power, the demon was deeply impressed. It humbly expressed its desire to become the male lead's magical pet. The naive male lead naturally believed it, unaware that the demon's surrender was a ruse. The demon had planned to get close to the male lead before launching a surprise attack. But when it made contact with the male lead's body, it was stunned. The amount of magic power within this guy was like an endless ocean. It made the demon not dare to harbor any thoughts of resistance.